Somatics is not about calm. It's not about relaxation. It's not about being zen. It's about tuning into the felt sense, what's happening in your body moment to moment, and then using that awareness to shift how you relate to yourself, to others, like your kids, and the world.
Hi.
Hi.
I love that we just had an impromptu, even though it was only like 5-minute conversation, I felt like we were talking for like 20 minutes and I already feel like we're kindred spirits. And now you're going to come to LA, even though I know you probably don't want
Yeah.
to. And you're stuck
Yeah.
with me now is what I'm
I
trying to
love it.
say.
I am delighted to be stuck with you. One of my favorite things of being so somatically attuned, like
Yeah.
not in a like hippy dippy LA way, but in a like
Yeah.
I am present in my body, and I recognize when my body's like, this is not a match. The second the screen opened and I saw your face, I was like, oh hi. I
Yeah.
love you. You are friend shaped, my friend.
Yeah. Right. Like maybe it was her big head or the light shining on me that's so bright.
Listen, but I trust it now because
I get it.
like I know what yes and no feels like in my body.
Yeah.
And because I tune into it so often, it's so clear.
Yeah, I feel the
Because
same exact way.
right?
It's almost like you can feel like an ickiness, like a couple feet from
Yes.
someone, you approach them, you're like, "Oh," and I like clam
Yes.
up pretty quickly.
Yes.
I get that same way. It's like
Yeah.
a sixth sense.
Yeah.
That's a somatic thing though, huh? It's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like you think?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a nervous system thing. And I used to judge myself for it because I didn't have nervous system language. And I thought I was just being kind of a judgy, shitty person. But
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh, that's my intuition and my nervous system letting me know what's what. And I get to
Yeah.
trust that intuition. And like,
Yeah.
I'm never rude to people, but it lets me know who to have at arm's length.
Yeah, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Bea, you've been practicing somatic therapy for what, like 20 years now?
I mean, who even knows, right?
But
I was
before it
born in
was like a trendy
79.
thing.
So way before it was
You
trendy.
You're 79, I'm 79.
Okay, let's say our birthday on three. You ready? 1, 2, 3. August 3rd.
February 21st.
Okay, so not the same. But still, I mean,
Perfect.
we're still
I
Carter
like that.
babies, and
I
that's pretty
love it.
great. Yeah.
Yes. Love that we got this connection here. Okay, but so back to the somatic thing. So you were doing it before it was cool because I feel like now it's super trendy. And so I want to break down like what you do and what somatic therapy is and not necessarily what maybe people have seen on the internet or what you see influencers talking about. We're going to talk about the real thing.
Yeah, I went to Oberlin in the 90s because weirdo school and did a lot of dance classes and a lot of movement and a lot of stuff that was really about this somatic connection to self and like really being embodied, but not it, like you said, like not in the hashtag trending kind of language, but in this really grounded, present, embodied way. And I've been geeking out about it ever since because it's so cool and so fascinating.
What was it that got you into wanting to become a coach or teaching about somatic therapy and practicing this? I mean, when you left Oberlin, like, did you know like this is the road I'm going to follow? Like, give me the behind the scenes of how Bea became this today. What's the story?
Gosh, my path was circuitous, to
Okay.
say the least. So I'm a family nurse practitioner by training, and I was in primary care. I had a private practice in Manhattan in the before times, and I just really saw this pattern in my patients where my focus was gastroenterology and so like
Okay.
functional medicine, but in the evidence based, not the snake oil. Science is real. I believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And
Ditto.
yeah, I was doing all the right testing, all the right supplements, all the right drugs, because
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals are great in their
Yep.
place. All the right nutrition, all the right. And my patients would get better and then have a breakup, spend time at their mom's, get a promotion, do a move, do like something psychosocially would impact them. And all of a sudden, their tummies were a hot mess again. Their thyroid was crashing out. They were fatigued. Like all the symptoms would come roaring back, which it's not rocket surgery to realize cause and effect, but like you start to see it as a pattern and you start to see it as a pattern. And so being a nerdy nerd, I was like, I got to know what's under this. So I started studying the limbic system, fascinating. The enteric nervous system, more fascinating. The autonomic nervous system, even more fascinating. And started sort of harking back to the work that I had done at Oberlin 4 million years previously. Like this deep embodiment work as this antidote to this moment we find ourselves in,
Mm, mhm,
right? At
mhm,
this point
mhm,
in
mhm.
late stage capitalism and white supremacy and the
Yeah.
patriarchy and all this like huge morass of human disconnection from self and community. And so much of the answer was in returning to a connection with the body and the self and looking at mindset, right? And combining those two things to get under what the physiology was screaming, while also like, please go get a colonoscopy and a mammogram while we're at it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that it really was like this was based in science. You were practicing medicine, you were working with patients and clients every day, and you were seeing this in people. And I think that's, what really is the tall tale truth for a lot of this. And, I see it's so much of what's happening today in the wellness space of
Oof.
you know, protein and creatine and do this and get your steps in and wear the weighted vest and do all the things and that will somehow heal you. And yet, I will tell you, and I'm sure you're the same way, I don't know any woman who's truly doing well right now, whether it's
Yeah.
mentally or physically. Everyone is sick on some level. And I don't think it's because they're not getting 10,000 steps in. I don't think it's because they're not getting enough grams of protein in.
Yeah.
And I think what you're doing, it sounds like this is the early stages of like recognizing that, like, okay, what we're being sold is like wellness isn't really making us well. And there's a huge missing link here. And I know we know the mind body connection. Like I know we understand that conceptually, but for whatever reason, when it comes to our own bodies, I don't think we're actually believing that and practicing that. So it sounds like what you were doing and began practicing this, 20 some years ago, was really the beginning of maybe some of us waking up to some of this.
So much of that resonates. I actually had an episode on my podcast, Feminist Wellness, about this recently because
Yeah.
the show has the word wellness in it. And
Yeah.
since January 20th, have been thinking, do I rename the show?
I get that.
Do I change the name of this? Because wellness now means full snake oil. And it's meant
Yeah.
semi snake oil for a while from Goop's jade vaginal eggs. Like, come on.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
all this, like, it's funny because I was doing DNA PCR testing for parasites
Yeah.
but like everyone's on Instagram, like parasite cleanse with the full moon. Oh my God, you do not need that. Put that down.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I decided not to change the name because I believe in what wellness means to me, which is a return to the wholeness of our bodies, which is what somatics is about. Soma means body in Greek. Somatics is the study of and the return to the body in its sacred wholeness, which is not about a majillion supplements and a stupid parasite cleanse and buying all this snake oil.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
what true wellness is, a return to ancestral brilliance, right? And if you
Mm.
are white of the Celtic Isles, learn your history too. It
Yeah.
matters. Your
Yeah.
ancestral, we all have ancestral wisdom,
Yeah.
right? It means community and a return to mutual aid and the collective. I mean, the rats and cocaine study. Do you know about this?
No, I don't think
Oh, okay.
so.
Quick aside that's not really a side, and we'll weave it back in
Yeah, I love how I was
magically.
like, "Tell us about you," and we're already on the rats and cocaine. Like, I was like,
Listen, it
"We'll
doesn't
be
take much around here.
we'll come back to the beginning in a minute. Hold on. We'll
But
be right
first,
back."
rats and cocaine. So they took two groups of rats. I
Mhm.
believe this is done in Scotland. They had one group of rats that were alone in their cages, and they had a water bottle laced with cocaine.
Yeah.
And once the rats realized that they could get cocaine water, they died, right? They cocaine
Yeah.
watered themselves to death. And then they took rats and from the same agouti rats and put them in a community, in a collective where
Mhm.
there were other
Mhm.
rats and there were rat games and the things rats
Yeah.
enjoy, and
Yeah.
they didn't touch the cocaine.
See? It's not that complicated.
Right. And I don't mean to, rats are not humans, right? We're not oversimplifying. We're simply making the one point that wellness is not about a jade vaginal egg and a parasite cleanse. Wellness is about knowing your neighbors. Wellness is about knowing yourself and living in your authenticity, your intuition, your intentionality, in your choicefulness. It's about listening to your body and trusting what you hear. Like when your face popped up and I said, friend, and I have a
Yeah.
book coming out, which means this is my fourth interview today. You are my
Yeah.
fourth stranger's face to pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And this is the only time my body has said, oh, finally, okay. And I'm not
Oh.
dissing any of those other three
No,
women.
I get it.
But I can attune to that in my body and have the thought that matches the felt experience of, I trust me and I trust what I'm feeling right now, and I'm going to act on it by using my words. And that's the wellness, right?
Thank you for saying that. I think that's
Yeah.
really important to say. And I
Yeah.
just want to clarify for everyone who's
Yeah.
listening too, Bea is not saying like, look, Pilates is bad for you. What we're
Nah.
saying is like, no, we're not hating on any of these things. I mean, maybe
Nothing.
the vaginal egg, but
Yeah,
like,
a little bit.
like that one, maybe I don't get, but no, but in all seriousness, like none of these things inherently are bad or good. Like they're just things. And what I think what we're trying to say is, we've missed the point of doing all of these things are things that we're being sold, that we're being told or would somehow fix us as if we're broken. And what we're trying to tell you is that wellness is remembering that you are never broken. It's all the systems outside of us that are, and that us coming back whole. And I think I agree with you so much. It's not just about us coming home to ourselves and being whole within our bodies, but being whole within our communities. It's like we've forgotten the we in the wellness part. I work with so many women, I know you do too, and they're always struggling, like, how can I fix this? And I always say to them, like, it's not your fault. First of all, how you feel is not your fault. And it's the systems outside of you that are making you feel this way. Like, you're not actually the one going crazy. And us trying to put more on our plate, like, do more, be more, correct more, change more, fix more,
Oh my god,
like suck
self-care
in more.
more.
All
Ugh,
I can't. There's like no more bubble baths and face masks we can all do. Like we can't do like, and so
yeah.
I this is why I'm so intrigued because I will tell you, it's funny. I was introduced into IFS years ago. I was introduced into somatic therapy years ago. And I believe in it. I conceptually understand it. And yet it is something just me personally am really finally opening up to. And so this is why I was really
Mm.
intrigued about having you on.
Yeah.
I don't mean to just segue this now. I'm going to make this, I really want to kind of make this personal. For a lot of the people who are listening to the show here, my community is really big into meditation and mindfulness. Like that's what I teach. I'm a meditation advisor. Meditation's been my, I don't know, for better or worse, like my sounding board. And I probably cling to it a little too much, so I'm recognizing I'm a little too attached to it. And yet I know I'm at a phase in my life where, Bea, I'll get up from my meditation bolster or whatever it is, and I'll still get triggered by my kids. I'll still have these moments where I feel not in control of my emotions. My body will get like really reactive. I started to become aware of like, oh, maybe there's something more here. Is this somatic practice that's now something I need to be diving into? So I'm really having you on, as because I'm really curious about it for me personally.
Yeah.
And the most simplest of terms for those
Mhm.
listening who are like,
Mhm.
I don't even know what somatic therapy is. I
Sure.
get it. We were talking about being in the body, but like,
Yeah.
what does actually that kind of like therapy look like? Like, what does someone do in their home? Like, if they're
Yeah.
listening to us, practically, what are they doing?
Okay. So let me give you the zoom out and then we'll zoom in. So, somatics is the study and practice of the body as experienced from within. Because, especially human socialized as women in this culture, we are taught to objectify our bodies from minute one. What a pretty girl. Suck in your stomach,
Yeah.
like you said, right?
Yeah.
The body is an object to be managed. So it's about flipping that internal script and it's about tuning into the felt sense, which we've been talking about experientially. So, like, what's happening in your body moment to moment, and then using that awareness to shift how you relate to yourself, to others, like your kids in the world. Somatics is not about calm, it's not about relaxation, it's not about being zen. It's about building the capacity to stay present and choiceful with your internal experience so you can respond to life instead of reacting from old survival patterns.
Mm, mm. You just
Put the
saying that,
claws
and
down.
yeah, you saying that immediately, I was like, oh, that would feel different.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
I think one of the things I do a really good job is having awareness in moments, but it's almost like I get to a point where let's say I'm having a reaction with my kids or something. For example, my daughter's home right now and she just ordered lunch for herself, which is blows my mind. I think she thinks she's in college. She's 14. I think she thinks this is
Oh.
her dorm or something and she's just visiting. And so and I said to her, I'm having an interview. You can't be walking past here. And she walked past here. And I was like, immediately the story was no one listens to me, no one respects me. And I get inside, I get flared up. And I have this awareness to be like, oh, you're being triggered. You're having a moment of her walking by. You're not actually upset with her. I know like she's 14. She's just trying to get lunch for
Right.
herself. It's not that big of a deal. But my body I can feel my body, my heart racing, and my cheeks get really flushed as they always do. What I'm not so great at then is being like, I recognize it happens and I, for whatever reason, jump to this thing of like, don't feel that way. Don't be mad at her. I like try to shut it down too quickly. I'm not great at staying in that feeling. I don't know if I'm explaining that well. It's like, I
Yeah.
feel like the meditation and mindfulness helps me become aware of it. Like, I'm like, oh, here's what's happening. You're getting triggered. And then I'm not so great at like, and now what? What do I do with all the trigger shit?
Right.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
100%. So I'll say two things. One, because I think there's probably people out there listening who are like, "Oh, that's a core wound." Yeah. And
right.
right? And what I will say is this, because I say it all day long. I don't like to call these core wounds. I like to call them core wisdom,
Okay. I
right?
like
Because that
that.
automatic pattern you go to, we learned them in childhood, and they're not flaws. They're absolutely brilliant survival adaptations. Even just that, right? Your nervous system is doing exactly what it needed to do to keep you safe in childhood, to keep you loved, to keep you included, right? So the behaviors we now bristle against or call codependent or people pleasing or whatever, they're not random. They're intelligent responses to your environment, which is not pathology. So the work isn't about fixing what's broken, it's about honoring the wisdom in those patterns. And then, of course, those patterns are creating fuckery in your life. You don't want them, I don't want them, nobody wants them.
Right.
But
Right.
but then we can choose new ones that serve you from the place of, instead of, ah, damn it, I'm getting triggered. Instead, taking a breath, orienting your nervous system, and I'll science that in a minute, finding your feet, finding the ground, and then, wow, look at that wisdom that came up. There's a part of me that doesn't feel heard. I'm going to take a moment, put a hand on my heart. I hear you. I respect you. I love you. That's a child.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was almost in this, and I know we're gonna science this in a
Yeah,
second,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
putting the science, like, right over
Yeah.
here. She's gonna
Uh-huh.
sit here for one second.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
'Cause what happened really, the awareness was, I'm gonna be in trouble. I didn't wanna be late for you. I mean, I knew I wasn't, but I was like, I don't want Bea to be mad. And even though I was like, she's in my mind, she was getting me in trouble. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, it was that
Yes.
it takes, so when you say that, the core
Yes.
wisdom, if I take it a level
Yes.
further, it wasn't no one respects me. It was that I'm gonna get in trouble. And you doing this is
Mm.
gonna get me in trouble. I mean, I'm obviously consciously know I'm not gonna get in trouble. Like you know what I mean?
But
But I
conscious
think there's that,
schmonscious, right? Like if
well,
your
and that's the
animal,
thing.
right.
And we don't live in the, even though we are walking around, we think we're these conscious beings. We live in our subconscious, everything. And it's like, I'm just a wild animal, lucky to make it through this world, you know? And I just think about that, like that in that moment, I was a little girl who was going to get in trouble and I was going to be late for the call, and then you were going to be mad at me, and Cher would get mad at me, and all the things, and all that is not true in any way. It's not logical. I know that, but so thank you for saying that, because even then, just having that compassion for myself in that moment, and what I love what you talked about is that, like, staying in that conscious choice of staying here and choosing then how to compassionately respond, of like, okay, I'm placing one hand on my heart. So in that moment, talk to the listeners and me, like what's something that, okay, if because my audience is really aware,
Yeah.
self-aware. So they're
Yeah.
self-aware women.
Yeah.
Let's say you're having a moment, you're getting triggered.
Okay.
It's your boss,
Yes.
it's your boyfriend, it's your
Yeah.
husband.
Right.
They
Right.
trigger the shit out of you. Then what do
Yes.
we do?
Okay, I got a couple things and I'm going to write them down so I don't forget. We got taller toddler, we got so
Oh,
what, we got
oh.
orienting and grounding. Okay, great. Okay,
I'm
good.
like writing all these down.
Okay, great. Okay. So let's start with taller toddler. So I started saying
Let's.
this probably about 20 years ago. Taller toddler is a framework I use a lot to remind us to be compassionate with ourselves. Because we treat ourselves like, ugh, I'm supposed to be a grown up. I'm supposed to be adult. I'm not supposed to get whatever triggered, activated, have feelings, have big emotions. Hush it. With all due respect and love, as someone who can prescribe opiates and legally can cut people, right? Hush it. I am 4 years old, and so are you. I am 6, and I am 8, and I am 2, and I am 14, and so are you. We are all just toddlers, but taller. We have big feelings that we don't know what to do with. And also, we need naps and snacks and time with friends and time to pet animals and time to color. And I'm not trying to be
Yes.
condescending or patronizing or be a jerk,
No,
but
I
like,
agree.
We wonder why we're so frustrated and upset and our shoulders are glued to our ears when we're not treating ourselves like taller toddlers,
Yeah.
right?
I love that so much. The idea of like that no feelings are, and I know we know this, like no feelings are bad feelings. But the thing is we do carry value on certain feelings in our society. And so we're told like me being frustrated with my daughter walking by, I should feel like shame for that. Like, God, you're such a bad mom. The feeling inside. So what I'm
Right.
hearing you say is all these feelings we're all having, all of them are equal and valid and safe, and we can experience them all and to stop judging ourselves for having these emotions.
Right. They also only last 90 seconds,
Is
right?
that I always
Yeah.
believe that and feel that and talk about this idea of like a wave, kind of if you allow it just to wash over
Yeah.
you. Is that backed in science? Do we know that? Is that a real thing? Like it kind of it comes and goes in like a wave
Yeah,
format?
Kristen Neff talks about it. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And Kathy Kane teaches us, she's an SE, somatic experiencing teacher. She teaches us that there's no such thing as too big an emotion. There's just not a big enough container.
See, this is why I love her. Yes, this is the
Right.
yes. Yes, I just needed
Right.
a bigger container.
Bigger container. Because when you are your bigger container, when you say, oh, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling it in my tummy, it's red, it's angry, it's moving fast, ooh, it's coming up into my chest, it wants to come out at this child, because a 14-year-old is
Mhm.
a child,
Yep.
right? So let me hold some love for this frustration. And when you do that, like, of course, and okay, so I'll add to so what? I'll add, of course. This is one of my favorite tools on the planet. So, my focus clinically is working with human socialized as women living with codependent, perfectionist, and people pleasing habits. So, what my work is about, my book, my podcast, all of it. And so, we tend to live in this incredulity that sucks all of our energy. God, I can't believe he's such a jerk. Oh, I can't believe she said that. Baby, believe it. Right? Believe it, because she's been doing it the whole 42 years you've known her since she gave birth to you, and she's not stopping now, sweet
Ah,
potato. So,
uh-huh.
of course she did. Of course your mom was disrespectful of your boundaries. Of
Yeah.
course. Waste not thine time and thine breath and thine energy being incredulous. Believe it. Of course she did, and then move on from there. And we can then turn that and say, "Of course I got frustrated." There's this old core wisdom inside me that says I can get in trouble. And getting in trouble is really bad because it threatens the core human needs: safety, belonging, and worth. Of course, I feel that way. Of course, I'm frustrated.
When you reframe it like that, it feels so obvious. And like, yes, that makes sense. And, if
Yeah.
only in the moment we can take it down and see this. So, in the moment, what are we doing?
Orienting and grounding. We got
Okay.
to keep this super simple, especially for super busy moms working full time. Ba, 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 ba. Orient and ground. So, when your nervous system gets activated, when you go into sympathetic activation, adrenaline, norepinephrine, eventually cortisol, fight or flight, a lion is coming, it's going to lunch me, I'm pretty much toast, anxious. Why is my mom texting? Why does my boss want to see me after work? All of that, you don't know when you are. And you heard me right. You don't know when you are. Because all of a sudden, as previously mentioned, you're 4, you're 6, you're 8, you are the actual toddler, not the taller toddler. And so the most important, simplest, pretty much foolproof thing we can do is orient our nervous system. So when you start a new job, they orient you to the floor. Here's the office. Here's where Pam sits at reception. Here's where Jim sits at sales, right? Like they orient you to the office. Same orienting your nervous system to when you are.
I
And
love this. This
anyone
makes
can do
so
this.
much sense. This makes
Oh,
so
good.
much sense to me. I'm like, yes, I get that.
Oh,
I mean, it
good.
took me right back there. I was like 16.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
my whole thing is practical science, right? I love being a nurse practitioner. It's our niche. So you literally just look around. I like to talk about sympathetic activation 0 to 10, where 10 is panic attack, and dorsal shutdown, the freeze response, 0 to 10, where 10 is catatonic. And 0 is ventral vagal, the safe and social, chill, relaxed, happy to be here, part of the nervous system. And the further you move away from chill, the more complex your orienting may need to be in order to do its magic. If you're just like a wee bit niffed and you're just like, ugh, then maybe you just look around and you're like, okay, I'm a grown ass woman from 1979. I'm here at home. I'm safe. Cool, cool, cool. This is my house. That's my Lauryn Hill poster. That's, like, here, I'm home. I'm cool.
Okay.
But if you're more activated, you might need to actively bring your prefrontal cortex into it. The
Okay.
prefrontal cortex is the executive function part of the brain. It's the part that writes emails and drives cars.
Yep.
It likes patterns and it likes math. Nobody
Okay.
panic. We're talking simple math.
Yeah.
If you are indoors, count the
Mhm.
rectangles. One door frame, one door, one staircase, one Lauryn Hill, we're up to 4, one air exchange, one light switch, 6, another light switch, 7, another painting, 8, a window, 9. So simple math. If you're like, oh, no, we're not there yet, count the blue things or the red things. No, it doesn't matter. But
Okay.
start bringing more sensory input in. The more sensory input, what can you smell? What can you taste, right? What textures? So feel your arm hair,
Mhm.
right? Feel
Mhm.
the back of your hand, feel your hair, feel your shirt. Bring your senses in because it lands you in the here and now. Also, if you're being chased by a lion, do you stop to stroke your own arm hair or count your freckles? No. So just anything that slows you down tells your nervous system no lions.
I'm hearing you say this, and right now it makes sense to me. When she is heated, and by she, me, who is listening, right? We're gonna want to strangle you. Counting these. I'm gonna like, Bea, give us the worst advice. 1, 2, like this is. So I just want to make sure that people listening know, like, it doesn't mean that in that moment that's going to feel good immediately, right? I'm imagining there's some resistance that comes up in the beginning of that of like doing this, right? Is that
There's a
not
lot of eye rolling, sure, but we
okay?
don't practice somatics in the moment of crisis. We
Okay,
practice them in the moment of calm
great,
to build the neural pathway. So you don't
great.
teach your kid how to spell at the spelling bee,
I'm
right?
loving this. This makes
Yeah.
so much sense. And yet it's funny because like parenting wise, you saying this and it makes so much sense to me. Like I know when my daughter is dysregulated or any of my kids, never do I try to have a learning moment. I'm always just like, I'm here, I hear, like I just give
Yeah.
compassion and witness
Yeah.
it. And then it's
Right.
later that we discuss it when their nervous system's calm. Same with us. It makes so much sense. Right. And yet I think it could be really hard because in that moment we want to like, just calm down, just calm down. Like no one calmed down from someone saying, calm
Oh my
down.
God. Nothing makes me, I am a very tender, soft, compassionate, loving creature, but that
Mhm.
will make me homicidal.
Yeah, ditto.
Woo!
Okay, so we're not counting the blue and rectangles. I just wanna make sure she's hearing this, like, in the moment, you're elevated.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually, we get there. Okay.
Eventually, yes, because eventually your kid who learned to spell at the living, at the kitchen
Yeah,
table will be
yeah.
in the spelling bee. To
Gotcha.
follow the
This makes
metaphor.
sense.
So,
Yes, I'm
what I
seeing it.
recommend is every time you pee, which
Mhm.
we're from
Yeah.
1979, we
Yeah. Lot,
pee
a lot.
pee a lot.
You just peed right now, coughing and laughing. So, like
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
okay.
Every time you go pee, orient. Okay, so here's how brains is and nervous systems is work. Neural pathways, neural grooves, heuristics, shortcuts, right? Like if you had to learn how to get your kids to school every day driving, your life would be impossible if you had to like take out a paper map and figure out how to get there. Are you freaking kidding me? No way. It would also take half the day, right? If you had to like get on the Oregon Trail to get them there. And so you have a shortcut, an intrinsic memory in your brain that says from door to school, bye, from school to soccer, bye, and you don't think about it. Same way with survival skills, survival patterns, right? The kid walked through the back, survival pattern. I'm going to get in trouble. Big feeling. So, what we do is we understand that pathway magic and that we have neuroplasticity, right? Our brains are plastic, are moldable, are changeable, and that we can use repetition and co-regulation to change our actual brains. What?
So good.
Amazing,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And so the co-regulation is, whew, I've got my own back.
Mhm.
I'm supporting myself. I'm connecting with a pet, with a plant, with a human if you've got it,
Yeah.
right? And every time I go pee, every time I get a glass of water, every time I put the kettle on, I practice orienting so it becomes my go-to action. It becomes
I This
the
makes so
new
much sense.
memory, the new
Great.
neural pathway. And then when you're freaking out a little bit, you're like, oh, wait, oh, I'm supposed to do the thing. And you look around and it'll
Yeah.
build up. It might take a little hot minute, but we're not busy, right?
No, but this is great, and I is the idea that then that we stay closer to that 5 because we're we're continually practicing some of this
Exactly.
orienting that we don't get as far to the 0 or to the 10 or the 1 to the 10, that we
Yeah,
stay a little bit more in the
exactly.
middle. Okay, okay.
Right.
So we're
And
building a little buffers always throughout our day.
right. And then we're also building capacity to be with the big feelings when we want and need to.
Yeah.
So we can be
Okay.
with grief. And if it's a 10 out of 10 grief, a parent or you know, the unthinkables, go there. But we can go there safely because we've built this container for our nervous system. And so we can go to 10 out of 10 anger. Like I have big anger when I have anger, but I don't hurt anyone with it,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't
Mm.
point it at anybody. And that is the difference, right? I don't yell
Ugh.
at cashiers or customer service on the phone. I don't throw things. I don't, but I can feel the
Yeah.
hugeness of my anger, my rage, right? Because sacred anger is vital. It lets us know something's not right here. And right now, there's a lot that's not right.
I feel like that's so good, and I feel like it's really important, especially right now, given what's going on in our culture and our society and our world. But I wanna make sure we finish the what's happening. So we did the orienting,
Yes.
and we're doing grounding.
Grounding. So actively connecting ourselves with being
Mhm.
supported and held.
Yeah.
And so feeling your feet and finding the ground, and then actively connecting your physical animal with the ground holding you up, with the chair holding you up, and letting yourself drop into presence with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely vital.
Orienting is newer for me, even just hearing
Yeah.
you talk about this. I love how I keep bringing it back to me. But the grounding makes so much sense because it reminds me of already what we're doing in meditation is being present in the present moment. It's like you're feeling the wind on your skin or feeling the sunlight. You're really being present within your body in that moment in time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk of sacred anger for a second.
Yes.
I love the language that you use there. It wasn't just anger, it's sacred anger. Why are you saying the word sacred anger?
In the patriarchy, we have been so actively divorced from our anger.
Yeah, for
We have
sure.
been taught that good girls and good daughters and good moms aren't angry. And I agree that aggression that lashes out deserves some love and care so that it may become more responsive, more respectful, more kind. Sure. But what I'm talking about is the appropriate reaction to injustice.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
always be quite responsive to injustice.
yeah, yeah.
It's never okay. Right. And I will always be a voice for that. And when I recognize it in its sacredness, it is my obligation as a person of privilege to speak out and speak up.
100%. And
Right.
now more than ever is needed, especially, and I would say if anyone listening, we all have a certain level of privilege,
Oh,
whether you
yeah.
think you do or don't, you definitely all do.
Right.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And there is this idea of like, out of all the emotions that women are allowed to feel, anger is the one that is, last on the list. It comes with so much shame. We just don't allow ourselves to feel it. And so I think we bottle it up. I think it's one of those things that like we're carrying physically in our body. I know we carry all of our emotions in our body, but I would have to believe that anger and rage is the first one that comes up. And it's funny. I've been doing a lot of work with this. Like the body keeps a score. I have a chronic illness in my back, and I've been trying to understand like, is it rage that's trapped in there? And I was speaking with
Mm,
someone really close to me who is similar, and she was like, "I don't feel any anger, though. I don't have any anger." And I think it's a very easy thing for
yeah.
a lot of women to like. I'm like, no, I know you don't think you do, but that's because you've been so separated from it. You don't feel it. You will have put it on yourself and as like shame or other feelings. But I actually think we're all really pissed off underneath and angry. Can
Yeah.
can you speak to that in the body? How quickly we can divorce ourselves from anger and how we can cover that up? Or like if someone's listening, is like, but I don't relate to that. I don't feel angry. Are there? I mean, maybe there are people who aren't angry, but I'm like, I think deep down we all carry a certain level of anger or rage.
I mean, when I think about sacred anger, it's the anger that comes from love, right? And
Mm-hmm.
from clarity and that deep knowing that your dignity and the dignity of others matters. Like it matters more than anything else on this planet. Right? And in that, the dignity of the planet matters. The dignity of children matters. So I think it's important to clarify here that this isn't like rage for the sake of explosion. It's not aggression, domination, revenge, mistreatment. It's this internal fire that rises when your boundaries or values have been crossed.
Yeah, the eternal
Right.
fire. Yes, yeah. Thank you for
Right.
putting language to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna talk about this idea about emotional outsourcing because I feel like you do such
Ooh,
a beautiful job talking about emotional outsourcing, and
yeah.
I see this happening all the time, especially with the women I work in or work with. Can you explain what emotional outsourcing is and what that looks like? What does that mean for you?
Yeah, with endless joy. So, I never identified with the terms codependency, perfectionism, and people pleasing
Yeah.
while living so deep within them. I
Yeah.
mean, to put a finer point on it, I was definitely not a people pleaser because so many people were not pleased with me. I was definitely not a perfectionist because I messed up all the time. Like, remember that one time I got an A minus? I'm not a perfectionist, but like I really messed that up, huh? And I definitely was never codependent. Are you kidding me? I am a rock. I am an island. No, I don't need anybody. No, forget you. Absolutely
Yep.
not.
Yep. I see it all. Yep. I'm seeing it. Yep. I'm holding a mirror up to me. Yep. Okay.
And so, because the words not only didn't resonate, but were frankly abhorrent to my 20 something year old self, I didn't get help. I didn't get care. And I ended up in lousy relationship after relationship, repeating all these lousy patterns because those words were anathema to me. No, thank you. So, once it finally all clicked, and I realized how deep in those habits I realized the original problem was semantic and linguistic. And so we needed another term. And so I looked really closely at the patterns that make up those habits, those survival skills of codependent, perfectionist, and people pleasing thinking. And it really is that we are emotionally outsourcing. And so I define emotional outsourcing as when we chronically and habitually source our sense of the three most vital basic human needs: safety, belonging, and worth. And we source it from everyone and everything outside of ourselves instead of from within, to our profound detriment.
Yep. I
Yep.
don't know any woman who isn't doing that right now. I got to be
Pretty
honest.
much. Pretty much. Maybe Jane Fonda.
Yeah, maybe,
Okay, great. Cool, cool,
maybe
cool.
Moira Rose. Yeah, listen, I
Oh,
think there are a few, and they're far, and they're the outliers, right? And they're the women we look to, and we're like, how do they do that? How do they live so bold? How did we get there? What is it? Is it capitalism? Is it the patriarchy? Were we all conditioned?
all of the above. So the reason I wrote my book was because this was burning a hole inside of me, but also because there was no literature. There was nothing really speaking to this experience in a non judgmental, loving way. I wrote this book because these entrenched habits don't dissolve when we understand it. We need to feel our way back into it. And part of
Hmm.
that is recognizing that there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's
Hmm.
nothing to blame yourself for. You're not
Yeah,
defective. There's nothing wrong with your character. You're not a bad person. You're not messing up. These are survival skills. They are brilliant. They are amazing. They are incredible. And sure, they really stink. And I would love to support you to live differently. And first, we need to love up on these skills and say, "Wow, what a smart, tender, actual toddler! What a brilliant 16-year-old."
yeah. This amount emotional outsourcing. What does it look like in the actual day to
Yeah.
day life?
It's sneaky, subtle, and obvious. And it is very, very socially not just accepted, but lauded. So, feeling
Oh,
risk.
thank you for saying that because it's almost like
Oh, yeah.
you are rewarded for probably
Oh,
doing
no,
this.
you're very rewarded.
So
No,
keep going. Keep.
feeling responsible for other people's emotions. So, like, I can't relax if someone's upset, and I have this compulsion to fix it. Apologizing constantly, even when you didn't do anything wrong, and just to keep the peace. Avoiding conflict at all costs, even if it means lying, downplaying your needs, stuffing down your feelings. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. At work, saying yes to extra projects, unpaid labor, emotional caretaking, because you don't want to disappoint anyone. It's the obligation part of it, and it's the managing other parts of it. Asking everyone's opinion before you can make the most minor decision for your own life because you don't trust yourself. feeling paralyzed by guilt when you say no, even if it's something you truly do not want to do, choosing what's easier for others, even if it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or painful for you, having this deep bodily belief that there's like a right and a wrong way to feel, and then adjusting your emotions to fit what you believe others expect, not knowing what you truly want because you've spent your whole life prioritizing others, feeling like a bad, terrible, no good person when you set a limit, enforce a boundary, ruminating endlessly about something you did or said.
I would imagine that most of the times we aren't consciously aware that we're doing these things. Like we don't think we're emotionally outsourcing. We can always
Mm.
justify it of like, well,
Uh-huh.
I had to because I didn't want Susie to be upset. So then I'm sure our minds create a lot of stories around why we had to do it this way. And it's not our fault. We're not being controlling. We're not being we're not doing any of these things. Like we don't really care what other people think. Like we love ourselves, we believe in ourselves, right? Like I'm imagining that there's a lot in our heads that keep us in these patterns that we're not even aware that we're doing them. I'm
Right.
guessing.
And the thing at the core of it is, where do you source safety, worth, and belonging?
And like where are we as people? And I know we're gonna say from ourselves, right? Like I'm guessing,
From
is that where we're
ourselves
going?
and from secure attachment in childhood,
Okay.
which
Okay.
Gen X are like, we're zillennials, right?
Yeah.
Like, our parents had no idea where we were ever. Like,
Yeah.
I really can't think of pretty much anyone from that I know from growing up who actually has secure attachment.
Yeah. Okay, that actually is really big that you just said that because I feel the same, but I didn't know. So that's like a thing.
Oh my
I'm
God,
not
it's
just
such
making
a
it up in
thing.
my head. Okay.
Oh, it's such,
Thank
and
you.
I think it's worse for like elder Gen X, because
Yeah.
we're like that Gen X millennial cusp.
Yeah.
But
So basically everyone listening in this
pretty
audience
much
for me.
everyone
Okay.
listening,
Mhm.
right? And so we were kind of feral children. And so where are we supposed to source it now? A combination of ourself and beloved community,
Okay.
right? So the antidote to codependence is not independence; it's
Okay.
interdependence.
Say that again. I hear you, but
Yes.
I want everyone
Yeah, yeah.
everyone say it for the people in the back.
Yeah. So the antidote to codependence is not independence, it's interdependence. So codependence is this enmeshed state where your thoughts, your feelings, your experience are my responsibility. And I cannot have my own thoughts, feelings, and experience if I can't manage yours. And if you are not having the thought, feelings, and experience I believe you should be having. So you pick a restaurant, your person doesn't like it, you have a lousy time. Your meal is amazing. Your wine pairing, gorgeous. Your dessert, outstanding. Your outfit, on point. It's your favorite temperature. It's your favorite everything, but you have a miserable time because he didn't like his pasta, right? You're enmeshed. His everything is now yours versus interdependence. Oh, babe, wicked bummer. Mine's wicked good. You want, I can spare 6 bites. You want 6 bites? Let me hit you up for 6 bites, buddy. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interdependent, mutuality, reciprocity, a loving give and take that's not tit for tat. It's not
Mhm.
counting. It's not judging. It's reciprocal. There's a flow.
I think what I see is a lot of women I know who would say we're not enmeshed maybe, but then what I see is actually then hyper independent.
Sure. Which is just pain in a different direction, right?
Yeah. So they say it's like I'm not enmeshed, I'm not attached, like I'm so and it's almost like this so strong, like I'm fine. Yes, okay, I'm seeing all of this. Thank you for explaining it in a way that makes a lot of sense. I think one of the things that I also see, so it's having these healthy relationships where we feel safe in, where our nervous system can be relaxed, where we feel supported, it's reciprocal, they're not reliant on each other. And then talk to me about the component of, and I hate this language, but this idea of like loving ourselves or becoming home to ourselves. I think that's the hardest thing for anyone to do. We talk about this idea of self love in our world. It feels like it's a hallmarked coin thing. I don't get it. I mean, I talk with women all the time about this idea of coming home to themselves, and yet I almost get times can feel like a fraud because I'm like, it's still, I don't know how to do it. There are so many times that I abandon myself and my own that it's so hard to practice this idea of like self love.
Can I ask a question, like a coachy question?
Please, I was waiting for you to.
So, what feels hard about it?
I don't know because I actually like really genuinely at this stage of my life like who I am. I like the way I live in integrity. I'm pretty honest with my needs and can communicate things to the outside world. It feels all, I don't think you would say like, oh, she doesn't have self love. But I think that there are moments when I lay my head on the pillow at night and I don't know, like this is a silly example, Bea, but like I worked on this book proposal for a really, really long time and it's not getting picked up by anybody. I love how I'm announcing it to the world and it's okay. But there's definitely like, really got beat up by that. And so I
Yeah.
laid in bed and be like, if only you had done better and created a better following, the book would have come out and you failed. And so I can get these stories in my head and I don't know if that's doing that is like, do I not love myself enough? Like, why am I doing that? I have a beautiful, successful life. And yet I can lay my head in the pillow and there's moments where I just feel yucky about myself. Maybe that's normal and natural though. I hate the word normal, but you know what I mean? Maybe that's
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of go in that direction because okay, so if we bring it back to meditation, right? Pema Chodron would encourage us to just label it thinking and move it along.
and that, so then maybe it is like maybe I do love myself and I just have to understand that that's part of the human brain to have that experience and have that thought and
Yeah,
that nothing's wrong with that, not label it. You're right. And I love her so much. And you're right. She would say,
yeah.
let it pass by like a cloud. So what? It was just a
Cloud in the
thought. It doesn't
sky.
mean
It's
anything.
just a thought. Okay, so I often say a couple things. So, what if it's not a problem?
Fine. Okay.
Fine,
Yes,
fine.
that's true. We could do
And
that. We could do
okay,
that. Can
fine.
It's like half my
Okay,
life. I know you're right.
listen.
Okay.
And
What
then
if it's
two, the gravitas is within your control.
yes, yes.
In my coaching, I teach my clients two things. One, I refer to these thoughts as cat callers. So I have lived in many cat call heavy parts of the world and would always have headphones on that were plugged into absolutely nothing, that were just like the other end is sitting in my pocket. So I look like I can't hear you, but oh, I can hear you. And that's how we work with those thoughts. I hear them so that if there's anything that like I need to actually work with or pay attention to or do some thought work around or do some somatic practice around, I'm paying enough attention that I'm clocking it and I'm clocking my internal environment, but I'm not believing those thoughts. They're just catcallers. They're just old ghosts. They're ghosts in the machine just moving through. I don't even remember the number of thoughts we have a day.
Yeah, I think it's like
Majillions.
60,000 or something.
Something
Probably way more than
ridiculous,
that. Yeah.
bajillions, right?
Mhm.
And they all get, the ones we actually hear are coming through a filter. So
Mhm.
somewhere in the machine, the filter thought this was important. And usually it's because of our negativity bias, which is just here to like, don't eat the poison berry. That is a lion. That is a cobra. And so some heuristic, some little thought that, oh, I'm a failure thought was important. And you get to meet it with, oh, no, thank you. That's my other tool. No, thank you. And
Okay, I'm
I'm
like
serious. Try
literally
this.
writing this out. This is beautiful because it just reframes those thoughts of like they don't.
Mm,
I don't. I think there was a while there where I was trying to fix those thoughts or like not have them, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it's fine. You're going to have shame around or feelings around the proposal. It makes sense. You worked hard on it. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you don't love yourself.
no,
Oh my
forget about it.
gosh.
Forget
They
about it. Yeah.
okay. I like
Yeah.
this.
No, thank you.
No,
And I
thank
just,
you.
yeah, no, thank you.
Okay.
I'm not paying attention to that. No, thank you.
You have given us so many good. I mean, I've got the taller toddler, no thank you, the cat collar. I feel like you gave us so many little gems of wisdom. Before I let you go, what would you give someone listening who's like, Bea, thank you. I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling overwhelmed in my life. I'm feeling like disconnected. Where does she begin? Like, what's one little thing she can do today?
Okay. Stay with me.
Mm-hmm.
Has to do with your morning beverage.
Okay.
So we often feel stuck. We often feel like I don't know where to go. I'm in this like morass of it's all too much because we're disconnected from the most basic voice inside us and we're running on autopilot. We're running on the default mode network and our brains is like chicka 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 controlling everything. We need to pause and reclaim choicefulness through the soma, through the body, right? That's how we come back to our integrity, right? And so in the morning, when most of us wake up, we just put the kettle on and drink what we've always drunk, right? So I want to invite you to pause. And again, it sounds so banal and it sounds so silly, but see how it feels after a couple weeks and ask your body, what do you actually want? And listen and listen. And not everyone's going to hear a response, but you might feel one, or you might feel an impulse towards water or lemonade or tea or coffee or whatever. Who cares what the result is? It's the listening is the work, right? And then start doing that with lunch. But like start with things that are unlikely to trigger or activate you. Right? Don't start by saying, "Oh, should I answer the phone when my mom calls?"
Yeah, right. But if we're just building a little muscle here.
Little tiny muscle, little neural
Okay,
pathways. So be
okay.
asking yourself, asking your body, and listening in becomes the heuristic. We're just creating
Yeah,
new neural grooves with tiny things that don't friggin' who cares what you drink first thing in the morning?
yeah,
Wellness
yeah.
influencers, but for in real
Wait, right,
life, who cares?
right.
Drink your coffee before 90 minutes. You're
Yeah,
fine, right?
yeah.
Listen to the animal, right? And that helps get us out of our brain and out of this like dominance of the mind. And from there, apply logic. You're not going to drink motor oil, but listen to the body first.
Listen
Yeah.
to the body first.
And trust it.
Thank you for saying this now. I feel like there's so
Yeah.
much noise right now for women of all the things they should do. And you really are simplifying it and making it in a way that feels natural and good, where you're like, you want to do that. The idea of like, you know what, you get to decide what you want to do in the morning. It doesn't have to be 50 supplements. You're not doing a green juice. Like, what is it that your body wants? It's starting so simple and just giving yourself permission to ask that question. So just thank you for the work that you do. I think you are going to make a huge impact on so many women's lives who will then have, a snowball effect in their homes and their communities and their churches and their schools. And, you're just out there changing the world. No big deal. No pressure.
I really
Especially
appreciate
now.
it.
No, it's
Yeah.
just so beautiful. I appreciate you being here and just thank you for all of your wisdom. I will link Bea's podcast in the show notes. It is Feminist Wellness. Am I correct in saying
Yep.
that?
That's right.
And any place else, anything else of where they can find you? What do they need to know? Where
I
can
have a
everyone
little
get a little
present.
piece of you? Oh,
I have a little
great.
present for everybody. So, just for your listeners to say thank you for listening to this show and listening all the way through. If you head over to my website, so it's my first name, last name, Beatriz, Beatriz, Albina, ALB as in bunnies, INA.com/within pod. You can download a suite of inner child meditations, nervous system orienting tools, all sorts of meditations
Amazing.
and tools just to say thank you.
Amazing. And we will link that in the show notes for everyone,
Thank
but that's
you.
incredible. Okay,
Yeah.
so they can get a piece of your work and the book's coming out in September.
It is.
So
I'd
we will
love to
keep
come back. Could I come
Are you
back and talk
kidding?
about it?
Tomorrow? Yes, yes. Do we have a title
Yay!
for the book? Is it a surprise? Are we
So it's called End Emotional Outsourcing, your guide to overcoming codependent, perfectionist, and people pleasing habits.
Okay, well, we'll definitely have to have you back on the show when that
I would
comes out. But that is
love
super exciting.
that.
Congratulations.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
so
Thank
so
you.
proud of you and just I appreciate you being here and thank you for the free gifts for everybody listening. And we will see you back here soon.
I can't wait.
Thank you, Bea.
Thank you.